So we're going to do so today we're going to talk about civil engineering technology. We have a bit of a PowerPoint presentation to show you the start, and then we're going to show you about engineering, what it is. It's all about problem solving, and Chris made a problem for us. We're going to solve it. We'll talk about that after we do the PowerPoint. We're going to do a bit of a battle royale here. We have a thing going, Chris and I, so we'll talk about it. Well, we're going to go to the PowerPoint now. And we'll show you a bit of the PowerPoint, and then we're going to come back. We're going to show you our lab and everything else. We're going to flip through this PowerPoint kind of quick. So Experience OC, thanks for joining our session. And we're in the Civil Engineering Technology Diploma program. I said I'm an instructor and I'm the chairperson. Chris is an instructor, and he's been here and he was a student, same as I was a student. So we know a little bit about the program. We both are graduates of the program. We came back to teach. So we can answer almost every question, hopefully, that's thrown at us. So for the next slide. So for agenda for tonight, we're just going to do a bit of an introduction, talking about the program itself, an overview of it, and what is the difference between a technician, technologist, and engineer. We get that question a lot. So we like to just put it out there. What is the difference, and why may you want to just be a technician, or why may you want to just be an engineer, go that route. So we're going to talk about that quite a bit. I should say a little bit, I should say, co-op jobs and stuff like that. And so why take the Civil Engineering Technology Diploma program at Okanagan College? Well, it has reasonable admission requirements. Basically, it's like 67% averages to get in. I know I was a solid 68%er, so I just made it in. How about you, Chris?
I had to upgrade.
Oh, hey.
High school grades weren't quite there.
Oh.
And so I upgraded before I joined the program. And then I was well prepared.
You're very, yeah. Actually, I didn't have the math. That's true. I had to take the math interesting. Yeah, right. So we both upgraded. We both made it. So that's good. So there is opportunity even if you don't have the 67% average for the math, 60% in physics, 11 or 50% in physics, 12, and English 12 was 60%. We have very small class size. We're going to talk about it in a minute. They're 40, and we have reasonable tuition compared to other places. And you can transfer to UBC or Lakehead University if you want to get a degree, which is awesome. So for the next one. So how long is the program? It's 16 months in total, 4-month semesters basically, and plus 8 months of co-op. So it's basically 2.5 years if you do it all strung out. And you graduate at the end of December or the end of April if you take the accelerated. The accelerated means you do 8 months less co-op. You only do 4 months of co-op instead of 12 months. But we kind of encourage all the students. I know from Chris and I's experience, we both did co-op when we were students. We encourage all the students to take as much co-op as you can because it's excellent for your resume, just excellent. And I had great co-op jobs. I was project manager. I did some soil testing on the Cook Island stuff. It was great doing different co-op jobs. How about you, Chris, for your co-op jobs?
Yeah, I got to work on some highway projects and in the lab on some soils and a little bit of environmental testing. And actually even some structural projects I got to do well in the first summer here. So by being able to, after your first 8 months, to get out there and get some job in the field and figure out what specialty you might like, that might help you, decide what you want to do next.
Yeah, because civil engineering is very broad. And we're going to get into that a little bit as we do our battle royale that Chris has set up for us. So what can the diploma be used for? You can get a technologist job. Really, that's what most of our students do. About 3/4 of them just get a technologist job. Right now, it's about $50,000 a year for graduates. We're going to talk about that a little bit more later. Or some transfer to UBC or Lakehead University to get a degree, which I put that up there because I know there's a lot of moms and dads usually watching this one. My son or daughter needs to get a degree. Okay. So that's why. So that's our end of our introduction. So on to what is the difference between a technician, technologist, and engineer? And I'll let Chris take it from here.
Sure. Thanks, Ken. And welcome, Garrett. And did we lose one there? We lost one. But welcome, Garrett. So technician, maybe a little bit more on the in the lab collecting data. Technologist, maybe a little bit more on the design side, maybe more in AutoCAD or running some numbers. And then an engineer, maybe finalizing the designs. So, and then the pay kind of just bumps as you go through the three of them as well.
We have a couple slides on that.
Yeah, and just to see what kind of work, the work doesn't always look so different.
One more.
But the wages get a little bit different. Right, your starting wage when you leave this program might even be a little higher than a starting wage leaving engineering program. But once you get your experience, maybe you'll make a little more as an engineer, but not all the time. A lot of the technologists come out of it with a lower stress job and a higher paying job than do the engineers. So
Good point, good point.
it's not actually a bad way to go, is just stay the technologist. In hindsight, that might have been a great route to go.
Hindsight's always 20/20.
Yeah. So any questions on that? We could pause here for a minute. But we're kind of looking forward to getting to building some stuff here. So I don't know, maybe we'll go to the next slide.
Sure. So for the co-op jobs, how many students in class, etc. You know, we talked about co-op jobs before. I just wanted to point out, you know, there's lots, like a couple of years ago, there's twice as many jobs as students. Last year, there wasn't as many because of COVID-19. Kind of halted a few projects right there, but they got jump started. Construction's booming right now, so there's a lot of jobs, especially if you want to move. It's no problem. You may have to move, and the average wage last year was $21 an hour, so it's fairly good. And will the classes be online this fall? We get that question a lot lately, and no. Really, the short answer is no. It's not supposed to be. Hopefully, we're going to be face to face, but yeah, if it changes, it changes. We're just roll with it. So it may change. And we have up to 40 students in each class. That's one of our biggest things. We don't have huge classes, just up to 40. And our labs are half of that or a quarter of that, 10 or 20. So next slide, please. And so what does a typical week consist of? Well, you have 32 hours of classes with Chris or me. No, we have a lot of other instructors. There's 8 instructors. There's eight courses you take a semester. And you have basically 4 hours per course a week. And then basically they're between Monday and Friday, 8 to 7 p.m., 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. So you get a lot of hands-on, a lot of lecture material, and then you come and apply it in the lab, which I will show you a little bit about the lab later. Classes consist of a combination of lecture and lab, which we just talked about. You'll have homework. Nobody likes to hear this, but yeah, you always have homework to do, right, Chris? I'm sure you do a lot of homework when you were a student, Chris.
True, you do homework. But we're trying to help you build tools that you'll be able to use when you get out there. We're trying to get some industry-ready tools going, whether it's on softwares you'll be using at work or spreadsheets. And you'll leave the program with a pretty good skill set. So it's not homework just gone to waste for tests. You're actually going to use this stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, we teach you here in the technologist program, you apply immediately, whether it be in the co-op job or when you graduate, you apply it. There's usually very little training, because we've given you a lot of good base and good skill set, and you're off and running. And it's really, really good.
I was really surprised getting into the office the first time. They just kind of throw projects at you and you got to do it.
Yeah.
And it was kind of sink or swim, which I didn't expect. But that's the expectation, is that you've already done a bunch of learning and you're ready to go.
And that's good. And did you sink or did you swim?
I guess I'm still swimming.
You definitely are. You're great. And that's the main thing, skill you learn in the program. We asked our students, what's the main skill you learned in the program? And they always tell us time management, which is a good one. But you'll use, even if you don't stay in civil engineering, if you take something else, you'll still, time management is a great skill. It's a great base to have. Next slide, please. So I guess now we're going to get into the Battle Royale 4. It's our 4th one, because Chris and I have been doing this, and he's won 2 and I've won 1, by the way. That's where we're doing number 4.
It just makes these events more fun.
Yeah, exactly. We push it here. So Chris decided, what are we doing today, Chris? You're the one that decided this one, so I'll let you explain it. Go for it.
So usually we build a short span structure, like maybe something that spans between here, and we try and make it as strength to weight ratio, so as strong as possible, as light as possible.
Just to make sure, we did that last time and I won, just to tell everybody. So what are we doing this time? You didn't like that, so what are we doing this time?
So this time we're going to try and go for the longest span that we can drive this truck across. Okay, it's a pretty small, pretty light truck, but we still have, the challenge is how long can we span it? I think Ken's going to try to build something like the old Kelowna Bridge, something what used to cross Okanagan Lake.
Floating bridge,
exact replica.
Yeah, exact replica. In the next 30 minutes. Maybe we got 35 minutes. Yeah, we got 35 minutes. We're doing good.
And I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to try to make some sort of strands long enough. And I'm going to just see, we'll see if I can get a span this long. Because this is double what Ken's going to try for. So I thought if I double it, we'll see.
We'll see who wins at the end of it all. And as we do this, you can fire off any questions to us, especially if you put them to Chris, because that'll slow him down a lot. Or you can put them to me, either of us will answer any questions either in the chat box, or just if you got to, with the audio works out too. Turn on your audio, please. Okay, so I guess we're ready, Chris?
Sure. Just in case you were wondering, this I set up a total station. I'm teaching the surveying courses in the program. So if you're interested in surveying or layout for subdivisions, or even on vertical, like building construction, they're using this kind of equipment these days to do field checks and layout and things like that. So we've got, this is a total station, and this is some of the stuff you'd learn here. And Al's probably going to show you a bit in the soils lab a little bit, and during while we're building. So,
so we'll see. Okay, so like engineering, as I mentioned before, it's all about problem solving. And the problem that we got is what Chris put in front of us. We got a span. We got to build a bridge across it. And we'll see who wins in the next 35, 33 minutes. We'll go till 6:45. And we got some stuff. We're going to talk about some different aspects of civil engineering as we build the bridge, of course. We got some different things we want to talk about. But I think we're going to start. Ready?
for sure. Any questions before we start? Just throw them in the chat box. I'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah. Okay, ready?
Okay.
Set. Go. Okay.
What am I going to do first? Oh, interesting, Ken. Interesting start. Yeah, don't even.
It's also good as engineers to freak out the competition once in a while. And it works pretty good, I find, to freak them out and get them going type of deal. And none of this passes the same length. This is going to be a problem. So sometimes you have to change things, and it's always good to start with the lowest common denominators, which I'm going to start with here. See how this is going to work.
If I can, not to put you on the spot, but if Garrett, if you had any, I was just curious what sort of got your interest in this program, or if we can address any questions you have so far. Just go ahead and let us know.
Yeah, Chris will be happy to spend some time answering them. He likes to answer.
So Ken's his specialty is kind of in the project management and the soils and what else do you do? Forestry, bridges, I think, stuff
Forestry,
like that.
I do a lot of forestry stuff, yeah.
Whereas I'm more on the structural and that sort of thing.
Yeah, we both have quite a bit different backgrounds, which is good.
A little bit of common ground on the soils. Definitely Ken's the expert there. When I was teaching some soils classes last year, I'd have to go knock on his office door. Actually, usually his door is always open. Usually I just holler across the hallway and get my questions answered.
Yeah, that's one thing we have here as all of our instructors. We have an open door policy. And so if the door is open, stop by. And that's what we always try to tell people, just stop by, say hi. We're pretty good. We don't bite. We answer all the questions if they're brought to us, which works out really, really well. And so we try to tell people, make sure to access your professors as much as you can, even if you don't take civil engineering. Think about what you want to take, just do it. And on that note too, it doesn't cost much to register. And last time I checked, it was $30. Tanisha will probably tell me how much it is.
Yep, it's $30 for the application.
$30 for the application, and that's for one application only still?
No, you can submit 2 applications for the $30. So you can either apply to 2 different intakes or 2 different programs for that.
Yeah, so I always suggest to people, apply to 2 programs, even if you aren't going to take them for $30, and at least it gets you going basically on a mission to one way or the other for, hey, now at least I'm signed up for school. Now I'm thinking about what I want to take. Now I can say yes or no later on when they ask for my money for a deposit. Which you always got to think about. How's it going over there, Chris?
Oh wow, look at you go. That's looking good, man. That's looking really good. Nice triangle work. You're of me there. I'm just trying to make some cords here. You've already got half a truss built.
Yep, we're doing good here.
Just hope it doesn't all come apart when you pull it off.
This
the table.
is so fragile.
No, it looks really good laying down.
Yeah, it looks good laying down, but I don't know how well it's gonna look when I actually hold it up.
All right. I haven't got much to go for it here yet.
Yeah, and you can see I'm just building one quick here. Who knows, Al might even bring you over to check out our things here, because you probably can't see too much from that angle.
I just noticed the battery level on the laptop here. I just plugged it in, so
Oh, okay.
give
Let's hold on.
it a minute here, and then I'll work my way over there to see what the strategies are.
See what our, well, I know what my strategy is to beat Chris. That's all. That's my whole strategy is. There's not much strategy involved here.
My strategy is I'm thinking one piece of spaghetti is a whole lot weaker than two. So I'm starting by putting doubles together. And this isn't something I've done before. Usually I made it a lot of singles, but it's so frustrating how easy they break. So I thought if I just make some stronger pieces to start with,
Yeah.
maybe that'll give me an edge.
And you got to remember, Chris is a structural guy. And so he always thinks about doing the minimalistic way. I'm a soils guy. And I always think I can do a little bit more than my factor of safety doubles or triples. So I do a little bit more always.
If I double or triple my factor of safety, the client is going to rip my head off.
How come?
Well, they don't want to spend all that extra money.
Yeah.
Even if my factor of safety is about 10% over, I'm going to hear about it. Ridiculous.
Yeah, see, that's also when you work in different facets of engineering, you get that different jobs, different ways. Because in soils, I can build a dam instead of running a factor of safety of 1.5. I can convince this client I can get you a factor of safety of 3 for 10% more. They take it.
Yeah, well, that sounds like a good deal. You just sold it right there.
It's like, you know, if I can get a double this factor of safety for 10 or 20% more, they buy it immediately.
In structural, they don't even want to hear about a factor of safety. All they want to hear about is how cheap, how much is it going to cost? Really, that's about it.
How much, eh? How do you like doing engineering, Chris, for the structural stuff?
Oh, it's a lot of fun. It really is. There's always new projects. There's, it's, you know, nothing is sort of, you get a few projects that are very stock and you run the same thing over and over, but for the most part, they're all unique and there's always a new challenge every time. That's pretty fun. Usually work in a team with, you know, some drafting support from a technologist and,
yeah.
And with the contractor, they'll usually weigh in on how they want to build it.
Yeah.
That's fun. I love doing the field work.
Oh, everybody loves field work.
That hydroelectric project, we had, it was a year and a half it took us, and I must have had 30 plus field reviews out there.
Nice.
Big concrete pours, and we did a pipe bridge, and
Nice.
a whole, that was really neat.
Yeah, see, some of those are real interesting when you can do that, eh? Yeah, I know. You mentioned working in a team, Chris. I know when I work, I do a lot of dams, reservoirs, bridges in the bush and stuff like that. And when I work with a team, I work with biologists a lot of times, environmentalists. I work with probably not normal ones that you think about for an engineering team. And
Looking at
and forestry guys, foresters. So we have to all work together though. How's it going, Chris? Burning your fingers over there?
not once yet, actually. I've got this metal plates working nice. I think I'm going to start joining some of these cords together.
Yeah, well, you're pretty slow over there, Chris. I don't know what you're doing yet.
I'm gonna try and roll a little closer here with this thing plugged in still, just so I can keep the battery charging. We can get a look at what you're doing there, Ken.
Oh, I got my truss action happening here.
Yeah.
I'm starting to double up things now. I was listening to what Chris was saying.
Uh-oh. You gave away my strategy.
Yeah, well, he didn't have much of a strategy. But anyways, I knew if I tried picking mine up off the ground here, it's probably going to break. So not off the ground, sorry, off the table. So I got to do something a bit different here. which is good. I always got to think about how this is going to work, right?
It's a little different than the ones you've done before, eh?
Yes.
I don't know if I can make a 2-meter long piece here. I'm gonna need at least 4 of them, because I'm gonna need a cord on the top and a cord on the bottom. And we gotta have it too wide so that truck fits. So I'm gonna need at least 8 meters of spaghetti, and I've only got 1, and how, what are we? 5 minutes? Yeah.
Let's
I don't know if I'm gonna get 2 meters out of it.
I'm gonna have a look at what you got going on there.
It doesn't have much going on there.
I've got 1 long piece here. That's it. That's it so far. But you know what? Another one's coming right up.
Yeah, how's it coming right up there, Chris? How's it going,
I
Chris?
just broke my double.
Oh, no. As you can see, like I said, that's what about engineering too. You can see Chris and I
Quite a different approach.
our plan. Yeah, we have total different approaches to things, and we Chris is a planner and a thinker, and I just do it. Whether it's good or bad, I don't care. I just give her. So, you know, and I'm hoping to actually, don't tell Chris this, but I'm hoping to get a longer span than him.
Oh, boy. Longer
Don't
span.
tell Chris
You might.
though.
You might.
Don't tell Chris
That's
though.
what
Don't
you
tell him.
can.
Look how fast this is going, Chris.
Not bad. That's only 1. You need, I guess you only need 2, don't
I
you?
only need 2. I'm just zipping along here, Chris. How's your doing there?
Well, I'm working on my 2nd cord. We'll see. We still got a fair bit of time though. We're going till, what is it, 1:45?
1:45.
Okay.
And this is what engineering is all about. That's why we do these bridges, is because you're given a task, a project, something you have to design, whatever, and you're not given unlimited time. I wish we had unlimited time and budget, eh, Chris?
Do a lot better.
Oh, why? I could build the best. I could build it to the factor of safety of 1.5 exactly every time.
I tried to convince we should try to build one to span from the black counter to the black counter and work as a team, but you really wanted to have a challenge.
Chris doesn't work well in groups. So I thought, no, I better not do that with him. And that's what you do find out. And some people like do like to just work by themselves as engineers or as technologists. And I do find most engineers and technologists are a little bit more introverted than the business or the artsy students. And so they do end up spending a bit more time on their own, working on their own things and trying to design things themselves. I do find that, which is good. So whether you're introverted or extroverted, it works pretty good.
What do you think, Al? How's it gonna go here?
Give it to him straight. I'll tell him it's not going to work.
There could be a disaster, there could be victory.
Or it could be success. Eh?
I just realized my glue gun's unplugged.
That's not going to help you any.
There was a question in the chat. What's the average age of people entering the program?
Good question.
So there's a bunch that come right out of high school. And then there's a bunch that are sort of the mature students, sort of, 25 maybe. And then there's usually a couple that are, older than that even, sort of getting into a new career. When I joined, I was, hey Ken, how old were you when you started this program?
I was 20, I was 19. The average age of our students lately is 23 years old. So the average age, and there's always about, out of 40 students, there's 10 students that come straight out of high school. And the majority of the rest of the students are some type of retraining of some sort, which could be like Chris, who came back from the rigs there and stuff. And me, I was a heavy duty mechanic, so I came back for retraining too. And there's people that come back to their WCB, workman's compensation, and things like that. So we have a bit of everything here, to say the least. Well, good questions. Any other questions, Janushi? Thanks, Janushi.
There was also a question, do you work in teams or mostly alone?
Yeah, good question. It depends. You majority of the time work in teams, but you might have small projects where you work alone. I'm trying to think. There's very few projects I've had where you work alone.
Yeah, even on your assignments, you see like most of the students end up working together after, like
Yeah.
by working together, you can save yourself time
Huge.
and usually you can get better marks because you can check your work a bit. So we encourage that kind of thing. You still got to do the work and understand it, but if you can work together, usually that's going to help you out.
There's only a few real group projects, by the way, because I know that's one thing some people ask always, like, how about group projects? They don't want to do group projects. There is group projects, but there are not that many. Like, I think there's less than 5 in the whole program. So don't worry about that, because I know some people don't like working on group projects. Whereas if you took business, for example, they do a lot of group projects.
Yes, you don't have to work together. And some of the really successful students, you can see they're working on their own. But I definitely see a lot of them helping each other out, and like you build pretty good relationships with your, the other students, with your colleagues, and those tend to last. Like I still keep in touch with lots of the people from when I was in school here.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And I still, actually, I go to the parties for the graduate students all the time when they all get together. It's kind of neat actually seeing them and how they're doing and everything. I think it's great. It's awesome. It's awesome. They do stay together, even though they might even work in different parts of British Columbia or even Canada. Oh yeah, we are a nationally accredited and internationally accredited program. That's one of my notes I wanted to talk about. So like we're around the world, you can take this diploma and go and work around the world, literally, which I think is awesome. And that's one of the reasons I took it. I had a girlfriend, well, I still do, from New Zealand. And so I thought we'd do a bit more traveling, and that's one of the reasons why I took this program. I thought we'd do a bit more traveling with it, but yeah, it didn't work out. That's fine. Any other questions, Janushi, before we get off talking about something else?
There's a question about if there is a deadline for the application.
Good question. Usually there is, because we have so many applications, but lately because of COVID and stuff, we're down a little bit on applications. So I don't think there'll be any deadline this year. You can literally apply up to like September 3rd or whatever the first day of class is. So I wouldn't worry about that for this year. Good question. Any other ones, Janushi?
I have one actually. What are the types of projects students do in these group projects?
Yeah, good question. Some of the projects I know for estimating class, for example, you do an estimate on a building, for example, and you have to do it in a group. So the whole group does it. They've done the drawing of the building in AutoCAD in a different class, and then they have to do the estimate for the building. Another one we do is called the Capstone Project, right at the end of the year, or right at the end of the 4th semester, sorry, at the end of your school while you're here at the college, and you have to do what's called a capstone project, and you do that in groups, and you might do something like designing a whole bridge from scratch or something like that, but you have to do the whole thing, and you have to go out there and survey it with the survey equipment that's behind Chris. You have to go survey it and then do the design, come do the soils in the lab. You do the soils testing and everything. It's do the whole thing, so it's quite a bit of work, to say the least. Good question. That's those 2 main ones that I can think of. Oh, and then communications, you have some projects where you have to work together, do a bit of a big report. That's the only ones I can think of actually off the top of my head. Yeah, there's only about 5 in total. Good question. Good one.
Yeah, sort of surveying structures. There's, I guess, the subdivision design or whatever that one is, the capstone. Usually there's sort of elements of all the different specialties in civil, like there's a soils aspect to it where they go out and usually dig test pits and classify the soils, and then they go do the surveying, and then usually there's a bit of a structural element to it, but sometimes they don't really get into structural on that one.
Yeah, and that's kind of neat too, and that's what we like about our doing here for our capstone projects. The students get to pick the project that they want to do. They get to pick what they want to do for the final project, and they have to do it, and then they have to present it. And it's not a present and defend like if you did your engineering degree. It's a present it, and then you just have to answer a couple questions, if not many actually. Okay, so we're going good here.
Last year, one of the projects was there was a site that a privately held piece of land, and the students that they actually wanted to do a development on it. So the students took that and laid out a multi-family subdivision on it, and you know, gave it to the people afterwards so they could, you know, work on that or build from what they were given.
Oh,
I think they actually came up with a pretty neat design for it.
yeah. Talk about my design. It's failing right now. It's stuck to the.
Stuck to the.
Yeah, I
Should we just turn the table on its side?
I mean, I have to. This is failing. I can't believe it.
Ken, I believe in you.
It's not working. I believe this thing so badly now.
Don't worry, mine's not off the ground yet either.
Oh, that's why I use the steel plate. See, and sometimes this is the engineering at its finest right here. I'm saying how to do this. And this is sticking. It ain't gonna work. Okay. Plan B. Off we go now. Okay.
You're not gonna get those off of there?
Need another tool? Something
Yeah.
sharper?
Yeah, if you got something sharper, I don't think it's gonna matter. They're just, everything breaks as soon as I try to take it off.
They are. It's, the spaghetti is tough like that. Yeah, hope these doubles, well, I've got mine off of the table,
Nope, it ain't
but they're
coming
not
off.
lifting up off the ground yet.
Nope.
That is the trouble of building on the, it's so nice to build on the flat.
It is nice to build on the flats, but. Thank you so much. Oh, hey, that works way better. Uh-oh. No, it's breaking like crazy. No. Okay. Okay, plan B. Oh, I got about 13 minutes. Okay, so now we gotta go to plan B.
Now you gotta build a bridge in half the time.
Okay,
Oh, shoot.
that's good.
Don't worry, I don't know how mine's working out yet either.
Mine's gonna work out perfect. And so sometimes, just like this, you figure out how you're gonna build. And it doesn't quite work, so that's okay. You just keep going, like I do. And you don't stop. And that's one thing I do like about engineering, you don't stop, but yeah. So we talked about, by the way, we talked about the jobs earlier. The jobs are, like I said before, were about $21 an hour for the co-op jobs. And the co-op jobs, there's quite a variety of them. They do everything from project management to AutoCAD drawings to soil testing. So it depends what you want to do. There's lots of different co-op jobs. And if you're willing to move, there's a lot of opportunity for you. A lot of opportunity, which is good. But it just depends. Like co-op jobs are plentiful if you want to move. So that's one of the big things. Like I said, and they pay enough for that. Oh man, my whole thing's falling apart here. Okay, you got to ask Chris some questions and slow him down now. Mine's not working at all. Holy cow. We're gonna end up with nothing here. That's okay. Chris isn't even off the ground yet. So we'll have to see type of deal.
Maybe it's a good time to have a little walk around the lab.
Oh, it might be a good time to walk around the lab right now, Al, if you have the time to.
I
And we might come back, might look totally different than what you see now. And don't worry, that's the beauty of television.
Plan B here.
I'll do my best to try and not shake.
That looks like more your style. Those little trusses were just.
They're just not my style. They
They weren't.
are not my
Right from the
style.
start.
We'll be back in a minute. I'll take a walk back here.
But it was going so well with those little trusses.
So this is the lab where all the students will be doing any of your soils testing, your materials testing, and also the projects that Ken was and Chris were alluding to about bringing in samples to work on. You guys, people would have access to all the equipment that we have in here and the space that we have. We conduct all the soils testing, the concrete testing, asphalt testing in here. We have a lot of up to really good standard equipment, probably better than what's in most industry. But it's all well taken care of. We have a fairly organized lab. We try to keep it that way. We're right at the end of the semester right now though, so we're starting to jig stuff. We're trying to fix stuff up, put in new equipment, that kind of thing. We always do that at the end of the semesters through the summer. This is actually the concrete lab. This is where you'll come in and actually test fresh concrete. In fact, we have a concrete truck back right up to the door here, and there's a ramp outside, and you pour concrete right into a wheelbarrow for students, and they bring it in here and they test the concrete right inside here. And then they actually do a little concrete finishing just to get a taste of the kind of thing they don't want to do. Yeah, so we'll just take another walk back through here, and you can see this is our large soils drying oven, or as Ken likes to say, it's the oven that fits, I think, 12 turkeys or something like that. Pretty proud of that. And yeah, so that's a quick shot of the lab. I'll try not to walk around too much more because I know it's kind of shaky. Oh, look at that. Ken's just about completed. That's perfect. Perfect.
Yeah. It's
the magic of television.
Yeah, we do have magic here. No, we don't have magic here. But we do. You will find when you come to classes here, just to tell you what a typical week consists of, as I mentioned, you have about 32 hours of classes. But of that 32 hours, about half of it's lecture and the other half is labs. And some of the hands-on labs are like Chris has said. So what are your hands-on labs like, Chris, with your surveying equipment?
Oh, it's pretty fun. We go out there and we tie into some lock corners next door here. And then
what do you mean by tying in? What's a tie-in, Chris?
oh, we shoot them with the total station so we know where they are, and we get the instrument oriented so it knows what way is north and which way it's facing. And then, so for example, you tie into a couple of iron pins, and that's what marks all the property boundaries.
Right.
And then whatever you want to lay out, in this case, we picked up all the back of curbs and catch basins so we could do a drainage plan for the parking lot.
Oh,
Might be something you'd have to do for a commercial project, for example.
right.
Or maybe you want to go out and pick up where the buildings are on a piece of land, so you can do a site improvements survey, and the bank will ask for those.
Right.
So that's another one that sometimes happens.
Right. Oh, that's good.
What else do we do?
Well, that sounds good for surveying. I know for us, we do soils labs. Al and I do a bunch of soils, asphalt, and concrete labs, actually.
Okay.
So you will find when you do it with us, you will have to do a bunch of different ones like that, which are good. Because you do find doing soils and asphalt, of course, that you see it out there all the time. Actually, ooh, that's always a good question to ask people. What's the most consumed commodity in the world? What do you think? What do you guys think? Have to put your answers in the chat box.
Is it maybe concrete? Oh, wait, I shouldn't try.
No, you should.
Am I right? Am I
No.
right? Oh,
The
darn.
most consumed commodity in the world is water.
Of course.
Number 2 is concrete.
Well, of course, the concrete uses water.
Yes.
Yes, and concrete is water. So number 2 is water. And so it's water, sorry, it's concrete. And so that's huge. And we teach it, of course, you're in the civil engineering technology labs, we teach it. So it's kind of neat that way.
I didn't know that, but it makes sense.
Yeah. So it's kind of different aspects of it, of course. Okay, 6 minutes, Chris. 6
I might
minutes,
just
Chris.
not have a deck. I just might let it sag.
6
Just
minutes,
ride the
Chris.
wave. I don't know.
6 minutes, Chris.
And what's going on over there with you?
I'm just having fun. How about you?
That's pretty fun.
I'm actually post-tensioning my bridge here. I don't know if you guys can see this.
Let's get in a little closer.
I'm
Opening it up.
tensioning it up so that it has some strength. And this is what they do a lot of times nowadays. Well, I think on almost all concrete decks and bridges nowadays. You're stretching it out as hard as you can. And so I'm doing that. I should probably get everything out from underneath. In here, so at least it's going to be on hard ground. So I'm tensioning up my deck here. And I'm hoping that in 6 minutes here or less, I'm going to have a nice deck that's going to hold everything, and then it's going to work. You know what I love about using hot glue especially? Just blow on it. And it's done. Now I gotta start thinking about how to reinforce this whole thing.
Yeah, what am I gonna do now? 5 minutes? Come on. Oh my goodness.
And this is what engineering is all about. It's about engineering at its finest, right? It gets people thinking about it. Hopefully it gets you thinking about engineering too, that are tuning in today to us and thinking about how do you want to do engineering? Do you want to really be an engineer or not? And hopefully you can get some ideas on that. And if you don't take engineering, that's fine too. At least you get an idea if you like it or not. And that's what we're all about today is, you know, is it a good fit for you or not, engineering? And because like I said, I took heavy mechanics to start with, and that was not a good fit for me. And so I know you got to try different things, which is always good. And sometimes it works and sometimes it does not, just like our bridges. What you can see I'm trying to do now is trying to put some cross bracing on so that I'm hoping that when my car drives across it, it doesn't break my bridge. That's all I'm going for. That's all I'm going for now. I'm just hoping it doesn't break my bridge. Whereas Chris doesn't even have a bridge in the area.
Well, I can always drive on the cables, right?
But it's not even in the area.
Oh, it's suspended.
Sort of.
It's off the ground. Just bumped it. Oh, I gotta be careful.
So Chris, when you took the program, did you have a family or anything like that you had to contend with at the time?
I did. I had 2 kids at the time.
Right.
And got a couple more now.
And how did you fare being a single parent doing it?
No problem, you know. No problem.
No problems, eh? Yeah, Chris was one of the smartest ones in the class, by the way, just to tell you. So
Just tried to listen to what people told me to do. Sometimes just being willing to listen helps a lot. I was trying to get Ken to give me some of his tricks he was going to use for this one today, but didn't really want to say much about it.
I just told you what I was doing, and you're seeing what I'm doing.
Oh,
And see, I do very robust designs. Chris does minimalistic designs.
Is usually the truth, yes.
Yes. So the two of us are very different for designs, to say the least.
Almost like the more I add, the worse it's getting because it's getting too heavy.
No. As you can see, we're anxiously trying to get it finished here. Here's a beam. Since we're not going for weight, I don't have to worry about it. I'm just going for span. So now I'm just trying to reinforce everything. Which is what we normally do here. Oh, 1 minute, Chris. 1 minute.
Chris, we also have a question for you. What is your profession?
What is my profession? Well, I'm a civil engineer. I do geotechnical engineering mainly. And Chris, go for it.
I'm structural.
Yeah, he's
Although you might not believe it by looking at this bridge.
So I do soils, and the reason I took soils, just to tell you, is because they always do soils engineering, even if they don't build the project. So I knew I'd be guaranteed work no matter what. It's not the highest paying for engineering, but it is quite lucrative. I get paid really well. I can't complain. And I highly recommend it to anybody to do the soils part. And structural is good too. What Chris is doing is really good too. I think it's great. Oh, and also, somebody mentioned this the other day. You got 2 hands, and so be sure to use them. And so as you can see, I got 2 glue guns going at the same time. Al, can you do the countdown for us, Al? The 30 seconds or 1 minute, whatever you
Let's do a 1 minute now because it's just at 12.
1 minute?
Yeah, from right now.
Right now. As you can see, Chris and I both have different ideas here at the end. Chris is trying to put on little pieces and I'm just trying to glue everything with 2 hands.
Glue is strong, so good idea.
Mhm.
Don't disagree with your method there.
Okay.
30 seconds.
All right. Thirty seconds. I'm just hoping my the truck doesn't fall off. of
15
mine.
seconds.
I hear you. I got the same problem.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, put down the glue gun. Put down the glue
Glue
gun.
gun's
Oh,
down.
come on. Oh, you go down a bridge. That is a pathetic excuse for a bridge.
We better roll in and have a quick.
But it is a longer span, right?
I agree with you. It's a longer step.
That's good.
I'll let you try and roll the truck first.
I just want to see what my span is. Oh, I didn't make it even. 77. That's it.
And I've got
He's got double.
136.
Almost
Pretty
double.
much double.
Pretty aesthetically pleasing, Chris.
It's kind of cool, isn't it? You know what?
Oh, look at
Look
that.
at this.
We have something
holding.
holding.
It's gonna hold. I rolled the 2 there. Yeah.
Nice. Nice work, Ken.
Yeah, it's holding.
That is a cool bridge. I like the deflection. That is really neat to watch.
Okay, there you go. So we'll see how this works out here. It's hard to hold that thing, I know. Let it roll down there, Chris. Let it roll. It's rolling, it's rolling. No, I think you're holding on to it.
Okay, I gotta let it go.
Yep.
How many seconds? How many seconds?
That wasn't even
Okay, let's put it back on.
No, it failed. It failed. It failed. No.
Gonna be touching the table.
Yeah, hold it. It is touching. No, it's touching the table. It's supported by the table. No.
Jeez.
No. See, hold it. Like, it's touching the table. It's touching the table. It's touching the table, Chris. It's touching the table, Chris. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we're tied now. I went too much.
That was good to see.
That's a good never quit attitude.
Can I have my Hey, you can see it.
The winner gets to keep the truck.
Sometimes. Sometimes you can bite off more than you chew. Sometimes you can just obtain something even after you did something really bad that's stuck to the table, to say the least. That's what engineering is all about. It's about having a problem, solving it, coming up. And when plan A doesn't work, as you saw from me, plan A didn't work. Go to plan B and see if it works. No, got a Royale 4. So that means that it's 2 for 2 now, Chris.
We're all tied up.
We're all tied up. I guess it'll be a grudge match next. We'll have to see how that goes. We'll have to see how it goes. But that was entertaining. Hopefully you guys were entertained too, for us to build some spaghetti, talk about engineering, and hopefully you'll want to come to civil engineering now. Hopefully you'll be intrigued by it. I know I was intrigued. I really like taking civil engineering. One of the main things what I like about it as a technologist, you usually spend about 70% of your time out in the field doing inspections, collecting data, etc., and 30% of your time in the office. If you do it in soils, or if you do it in soils, it's probably like 90% of your time out in the field and then 10% in the office. So it's pretty good if you don't want to just have a desk job. There's lots of opportunity to do other stuff, lots of opportunity. And civil engineering is the biggest, broadest engineering field out there. And that's one of the main reasons why I took it too, because I do forestry engineering mainly. I mainly work in the bush. Anything to do with trees, soil, and water. I'm good. I'm golden. How about you, Chris? What would you like to add in about engineering then?
Steel, concrete, and timber.
The structural
A little bit
guy.
of aluminum and glass.
Yeah, the structural guy, and yeah. See, and that's what I like what civil engineering, structural, soils, municipal, environmental, oh, there is so many different facets to civil engineering. As a technologist, and every engineer has a number of technologists that support them. So technologists are always in high demand. Right now, actually, intermediate and senior technologists are extremely high demand right now because construction is booming in Kelowna, absolutely booming. So that's where you see a lot of technologists working. So if you want a job in Kelowna especially, it's pretty darn good right now. Any other questions? And Danushi, any questions I missed in the chat box, please?
I might have missed it, but there was one question. When would I diversify into structural or civil engineering?
Good question. You don't.
You don't really need to until you graduate. Like even once you're graduated, you can still transition, but the program is general. And there's definitely, if you take a degree after, you can take sort of a structural stream or a civil stream. But even once you graduate, you're going to get, you know, whatever your credential is, and then you can go work in any office. You don't really have to decide at all right away, you know, not at least until you've got some experience in the field and you start deciding what you like.
Yeah, and that's what I like about this program too. It's not like we have options. You take everybody takes the exact same 32 courses. There's no options. You don't even have to worry about your timetable. We set that all out for you. And that's what's great. And then you're a very broad civil engineering technologist, very broad based. And so you can go get work almost anywhere. Me and the girlfriend would always move to a place and I'd go get work. So that's what I like about it. There's lots of different opportunities. It's really good. Good questions. Any other ones, Danushi, that we missed?
I think that was everything in the chat box, but now is a good opportunity if anyone wants to unmute themselves to ask a question or keep asking some questions in the chat box.
Yeah, perfect. Trust me, we're open to anything. Chris and I'll answer about anything as long as it's something to do with civil engineering. Well, even though we're good. We're about the college in general. We're good. We've been here long enough. Chris and I have been here. I've taught here over 19 years now, and I graduated from this program a long time ago. So I've been here a while, to say the least. And I've taken classes in this room, and now I teach in this room. And Al showed you the labs that I took classes in and taught in now. So same with Chris. We both took class here and taught in here. And we both had good bridges that worked and that failed in this room. So it's a good room.
There was about 2 seconds there where my bridge held, wasn't there? About 2 seconds.
Half a second. But it is interesting. And there's some competitions. I'm looking at the wall here. There's the catapult competition that Chris went in when he was a student years ago. There's some competitions you can do while you're a student. There's not many, and most students don't go in them just because the workload for your courses is so heavy. Doing another competition, you just don't have time. So, and we don't recommend it unless you're a good student or just want to party hard. Then it's good. No, good questions. I get one of these questions. I see. What is Chris's profession?
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it is.
I'm a structural engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, houses or other buildings, like we've done some breweries and some bridges. That was that hydroelectric project I was telling you about. And so now my profession is actually just here teaching. Just sort of taking a pause from picking up extra work on the side, probably pick that up again in another year or something. But this is keeping me busy. I got a whole bunch of new courses I've been learning for the last 2 years here. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we put Chris in the hot seat. He likes trying different stuff and excelling at it, which is good. It's good. Like I said, you have 32 different courses you're going to take here. It's pretty well laid out program. It's the bread and butter of civil engineering is like the bread and butter of engineering, really. Swiss Army knife. I shouldn't say the bread and butter. It's Swiss Army knife. It does so many different things. That's the easiest way I think to put it. So it's pretty good that way. No? Any other questions?
I think civil was the first type of, well, I could be wrong, but it was the first engineering, right?
Yep. Civil. Yep. Leaning Tower of Pisa started some of it out right there because they didn't do soils testing. And guess what? It just started leaning. So they had clay on the one side
Uh-oh.
Better soil on the other side. Oh, that was out. I'm wondering
What happened again?
Oh, what happened? Earthquake, wind up, oh, I broke.
Where was your earthquake engineering?
It wasn't after my 12 minutes it took me to build that. Yeah, I guess the entire piece would fall over too. That big earthquake like that. That was probably magnitude 100 earthquake there. Yeah, so even some things still don't stand up, even a big earthquake story.
Well, we're talking earthquake engineering. That was actually what I specialized in after I left. I took a master's degree in earthquake engineering.
Yeah.
On structures, which is kind of like what we just saw.
Yeah, we just saw that, and it failed after a few different earthquakes kept getting wrapped up there. My fridge. Oh, it's all good. Here, my truck's still good. It's all good. Any other questions, please? Well, we're around. You can find, if you think of any questions afterwards, please email Danucci or Chris or myself. You can find our emails on the Civil Engineering Technology website. I'm Ken Longaday. This is Chris Piper. We're the only Ken and Chris is in civil engineering. So if you find one of our names or the other, you can always email us. We're happy to answer questions. We're happy to show you even around the campus. If it wasn't COVID, we'd show you around, of course. And that's what we like to do on these ones, but we can't this year. We are very proud of our campus. We do a lot of things outside. Actually, we build retaining walls outside. We do surveying outside. We do soils testing outside. We do a bunch of stuff just around campus outside even. So it's kind of neat, actually. We have a great campus, a great student body, comes and goes. So it's pretty good, actually. And oh, one thing that I didn't mention, how successful are you once you start the program? I usually get that, but I forgot to mention it. Usually about 75% of students that start the program graduate within the 2.5 years, 75%. So it's pretty high success rate. So, and the ones that don't graduate, they usually leave due to personal reasons. It's usually not that they can't do the work, it's some other personal issue. So think about that if you want to come in. It's pretty high retention rate, pretty high graduation rate for civil engineering technology. Thanks. Anything else you'd like to add, Chris, please?
We hope to see you here in the fall.
Yeah, please. Yeah, hopefully, if not in our program, maybe just see you walking up and down the hallways. We're all around, and we have an open door policy. If you take another program, just stop by and say hi to Chris and I. We're always happy to say hi. Well, I think that's it. Unless Danucci, did you want us to run the final slide?
Yeah, I think put this tuition giveaway up and I'll just type it in the chat box.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, so explore, go see the program search on okanagan.bc.ca. Check out that program search. It's kind of neat. Oh, one thing I forgot to put in here, dashboard. When you go on Okanagan College website, if you put in dashboard, it comes up, you can put in any institution, any program, and it tells you what the graduates make coming out of that program and how many of them are successful. Just remember dashboard, I forgot to put it on here. So ask an advisor recruiter. You can ask Danucci, for example, and she'll, of course, direct questions around. There's others too. And apply. As Danucci said, you know, $30, you get to apply for 2 programs. Apply, apply, apply. I would highly recommend. Next slide, please. So thanks a lot for attending. You're eligible to win the $5,000 tuition credit. I think Danucci, yep, she put it in the chat box there. The website, it's right there too. Sign up for it for sure. Definitely. Now that you've checked out this whole thing, sign up. $5,000 is $5,000. Pretty good. That's almost 1 full year of classes because it costs just over $11,000 to go here just for tuition for the 2 years. So that's almost 1 full year. So please sign up. Well, thank you very much again for your time, everybody. Have a great day. And please, hopefully we'll see you in the hallways, if not in our classes. Have a great day. Thanks everybody for coming. Thanks.
Thanks.